Right, everybody, it's me, Reidy, with another episode of Beat the First Man, episode 52 for you now. And we have a momentous episode because for the first time ever on Zooming In, we have a female musical artist with Jen Dixon. So keep an eye out for that later. As well as that, Little Shouty Man makes a return. It's been a while, but he's back, so find out what he's got to rant about. Ted is back with another treble after last week and see how he got on. How old, the name game, hammer time, loads more. So honestly, stick around. It's going to be a fun-packed show. So first of all, a little bit of housekeeping. Don't forget to click subscribe down below if you haven't already. If you are already a subscriber, thank you so much for coming back for more. Once you have clicked subscribe, make sure you click the little bell because we don't want you to miss another episode because that would be fatal. Nobody wants that. But most of all, and the thing we love more than anything else, likes at the end of the show and your comments down below. So please feel free, anything you like, fire them in below. What you enjoyed, what you hated, all the usual stuff, just fire it in. So what are we waiting for? Let's get on with the show. And putting this on can only mean one thing. Stoke Gabriel and Torbay police time. Let's turn that off. So, dressed like a policeman, so let's get on with it, shall we? So, Saturday was the first home game of the season last week. Could we get that first elusive victory we've been waiting for in a season and a bit? Nah, we couldn't. We lost 3-0 against Honiton, making it 3 defeats on the bounce this season. In midweek, Tuesday night, we're back on action. It was a trip to Newton Abbot Spurs. Now, any game against a team with Spurs in the title, you've got to fancy your chances. It's only Spurs. So, what happened? 4 minutes in, strap yourself in, guess what? They were winning 1-0. Stoke Gabriel and Torbay Police were 1-0 up after just 4 minutes. However, that was as good as it got because after that, the home side hit back. They scored 5 times without reply, winning 5-1. Just short of hammer time though. Unlucky. But yeah, so 4 defeats out of 4, so it's not the start we were looking for. But there are positives. The positives are the scores are a bit more like football scores than cricket scores than they were last season. We're getting goals most game. I don't think we're going to have to wait too long for that first victory to be celebrated. So heads up, chins up boys, we go again this weekend. Can we cop that first victory? There's your cheap police gag right there. I nearly forgot to do it as well. How disappointing. So, time for us to play How Old, where we guess how old the footballer is. So, it's quite simple. If you're new, we pop up a photo of an old footballer and all you have to do is guess how old he was when the photo was taken. Last week's, in my opinion, is still one of the finest we have ever had. But guess what? This week, we head back to having a Scotsman. It's been a while. We've not had a Scotsman for a little while. But they do give us some of the best aged footballers without a shadow of a doubt. So this guy, he started his career at Everton, played 66 times for the Toffees before he made a switch to Aston Villa. Right, it was here where he really made his name. He made 207 appearances for the Villains, including a European Cup final appearance, and he also scored the following year in the European Super Cup. From there, he left Villa and went to local rivals West Brom before spells with Man City and Sheffield United drew his career to a close. He's one of only 2 Scotsmen who have won the European Cup but never played for his country. You can have the rest of the show to see if you can guess who the other one was, and I'm just going to write it down now so I don't forget to tell you later on, because that would be really frustrating if you'd spent all that time guessing and I hadn't wrote it down. So I've wrote it down now. So quite simply then, that's all lovely, but what we want to know is when this photo of Ken Mcnaught was taken, how old was he? Simple as that. Just guess how old he was. Answer to be revealed later on in the show with Ted. So earlier on in the week I caught up with Kian as we did another segment of Dad v Lad as we find out who came out on top in week 1 of our fantasy football. Any changes to our teams for the coming weeks, who's going to be our captain. So without further ado, what we're waiting for is Dad v Lad, fantasy football. Welcome to Dad v Lad Fantasy Football. Here we are, week 2. So we've had week 1, so the point scores are in. How are we, Kian?
Not too bad.
Are you looking forward to reviewing Fantasy Football week 1?
Yeah, I did quite well.
Yeah. So, well, let's see just how well you did, shall we? So, Kian Barrett-Reid, cock and balls.
Great name.
One score, 70 points.
Not too bad.
Happy with that? Mid-table, you're 19th in the league out of 31.
That's all right.
But the big question is, how have you done against Dad, aka Burnout No More? I got 57.
Oh.
So 70, 57 to you in week one. So you are leading after week one. The leader of the league is on 111.
That's
and
ridiculous.
The bottom of the league is on 23. So it's not all bad. We're not doing too bad so far. Mid-table mediocrity. So
it's not too bad.
The one thing we're going to do a little bit differently this time, is rather than go through the whole team, because that would just get boring for people listening to our whole team, is we'll go through, first of all, any transfers you're making this week.
Right. So in terms of transfers, I think I've made 2.
Oh, a -4.
Yeah.
Controversial. So who have you transferred in and who have you transferred out?
Well, Sanchez in goal for Brighton. If they're conceding to Burnley, who aren't they going to concede to? Yeah.
Ooh.
So he's come out and Edison's gone in.
Yeah.
And Alonso's come in for Reece James.
Right. Okay. So a couple of changes there. I've just made the one transfer. I've not gone as big as you. I've just made the one transfer. So I have taken out Ollie Watkins.
Yeah.
So he was obviously peed me off with the fact he got injured last week. So I've taken him out and I've replaced him with Richarlison.
Do you not have much faith in us?
I've not said whether Richarlison's starting or not, have I? That's my only transfer. So I've only made the one transfer. So substitutions this week. Have you changed any of your starting players from last week to this week? I've made a couple.
Well, if I'm looking now, Diaz has come in for Ben White.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only one. Yeah, it is. Diaz for Ben White.
Well, I see we're similar tactics here because I dropped Ben White as well. Because Arsenal are away at home to Chelsea. So I've dropped Ben White and I've brought in Connor Cody for Ben White.
Yeah.
So looking back on last week's then, you can only have one. Who was your biggest disappointment as a player in your fantasy team last week?
There was a few I did want to pick from, but I can only have one.
Yeah.
But can I say who the other one was close to being?
Yeah, go on then. Go on.
Well, I was close to picking Reece James.
Yeah.
But he only played 23 minutes, so that's not really his fault. So my shit pick of the week was Rafinha.
Oh dear me, you've gone in hard on Rafinha. I mean, he did score some points.
But I just thought he'd just be playing a lot better. I mean, as a player as well, he really wasn't very good.
He didn't have the best of afternoons.
No.
Neither did many of them, to be fair.
No, I thought he'd light it up. Really, I thought he'd get us a couple of assists. But
I mean, no. I don't want to cast judgment on those at the top of the league, but I'm guessing they've either got Pogba or Fernandes or both in their teams.
I think a lot of them had Fernandes, didn't they?
Now, with my Atletico Bilbao style picking of teams where I can't pick Man United players, I think considering they won 5-1, I've done all right to get 57 points.
Well, I've also got 9 and I've got 70, so I think I've done all right.
Oh, okay. I thought you had one.
No. I also refused to put them in.
Right. Well, there we go. We're on the same page then. So we're going to go the whole season with no Man United players as well.
Well, we're going to try.
Oh, loving this. Well, I will not pick one. I've never picked one ever in fantasy football. I am starting now. So my shit pick of last week, I've got to go with Martinez in goal. I mean, he's the Villa goalie. They got Watford away first game of the season and he ships 3. I can't believe it. I mean, I had him nailed on as being a clean sheet last weekend and they were 3-0 down after about an hour. So what the hell is going on? So, but there we go. So what we'll do then, Keith, just quickly run through your full team then for this week. So what's your formation?
So it's the same as last week, the 3-5-2.
Yeah, so go through your team. Then who we got in goal?
So Edison.
Yeah, so Man City are at home to Norwich, aren't they, on Saturday? So
yeah, so I think he should really. And then Diaz, Alonso, Alexander-Arnold at the back.
Yeah.
And then Havertz, Barnes, Salah, Rafinha, Mount.
Yeah.
and Bamford Antonio.
Right, okay. So I've gone 4-4-2. I've kept faith with most of my team from last week, to be fair. So I've gone Martinez in goal. I've gone Diaz, Cody, Kufal, and I'm leaving Chilwell in. If he doesn't play this week, he's gone. He's out. I'm saying it now. If he doesn't play this week, he's transferred out of the team. I'm not having it. It'll be the second week running. So that's my 4 at the back. My 4 in midfield, I've got Salah, Mount, Rafinha, and Grealish. I'm keeping the same 4 in midfield. And my 2 strikers, Jamie Vardy, who scored for me last week, and Ivan Toney.
So you've not gone for Richarlison then? No.
So I've left Richarlison out because they're playing us, and I think we're going to be so fired up. I think he's going to have a tough afternoon. And Brentford are away at Palace, and I think Toney could score at Palace. So I've made a controversial move to bring in my record transfer striker and left him on the bench.
Yeah.
How do you like them apples, Richarlison?
I'm not sure he'd be happy based on what he's like.
Probably not. So we'll start with your vice captain. Who have you gone as your vice captain?
I've stuck with him because I think he might actually score on the weekend, and I've got for Bamford.
Right, okay. So I've stuck with my vice captain. In fact, no, I've changed my vice captain because it was Vardy. So my vice captain this week, I've gone Grealish because obviously they're at home to Norwich. So I think he's going to get at least 1 assist this weekend. So, and who have you gone for as captain? I've got the feeling we're both going to have the same captain.
Well, I stuck with the man who got me 34 points last week, and I've gone for Salah.
Yeah, well, I've gone for Salah as well. I mean, they got Burnley at home. I can only see him scoring some serious points. I really can. And have you played any of your bench boosts or your triple plays or your free hits?
No, I was close to doing a free hit, but I didn't do it. I left it.
I've not done any of mine as of yet, so I'll leave those alone for now. So, excuse me. So we'll come back to review this week, this next week. So just a quick reminder: the score from last week was Kian, aka Lad, 70. Me, aka Dad, 57. So there's a 13-point gap for Kian already going into week 2. We'll see how week 2 pans out. So, Kian, one more question. 4 more sleeps to you back in a football stadium. How excited are you for Saturday?
Oh, I'm buzzing. It's been too long.
So what's it going to mean? So tell the people watching the show, for those who aren't going to football on Saturday or aren't going to full stadium, you're walking back into Ellen Road on Saturday with 36,000 people there. It's going to be a full house. The first ever Premier League game you've watched as a Leeds fan in the flesh, there supporting your team. What's it going to be like?
Oh, it's going to be ridiculous, isn't it? It's going to be bouncing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people, I mean, was it 17 years, 18 years now?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people like me who have just never seen it. So we're all buzzing for it.
Yeah, there's a whole generation of fans who've never seen us kick a ball in the Premier League. Yeah. Suddenly on Saturday, it's all going to happen. So I'm with you. I can't wait. I'm buzzing for it. I'm so excited. So, but anyway, that's not why you're on it. So from now, Bad v Lad, Kian has a 13-point lead. We'll be back next week to pick our teams for next week and review how we've got on this week. So Kian, thank you very much. We'll see you next week. And it's for now. It's back to the show. So there we go. After week 1, it's Kian who's in front. There's not a lot in it though. Not a lot to, it's a pretty close call. So I'm quite pleased I'm within touching distance after week 1. Shout out to Gary Hamilton and his Kaja Warriors, or Kaja Warriors, however you want to pronounce it. They're topping the table with 111 points after week 1. So great effort for them. And also shout out to Harry, my eldest son, who's bottom on 23 points. Long way to go. It's only week 1. Nobody panics after week 1, do they? Leeds fans. No. Anyway, so the road to Wembley. Guess what? It's Saturday. It's FA Cup day. So you may recall, having beaten Rothwell Corinthians in the extra preliminary round, we are now following Harbour Town on their journey in the FA Cup. Simple format. Whoever wins the next game, that's who we follow into the next round, and so on and so on, all the way through to the final until we support someone in the final. So on Saturday, or today, because I'm filming this on Thursday night, on Saturday, Harbour Town will entertain Biggleswade FC in the preliminary round of the FA Cup. Now, it's a tough clash. Biggleswade are in the Southern League, so they're a couple of levels higher than the boys from Harborough, but the Bees have got home advantage, and they've got the backing of the Beat the First Man brigade. So what we really want to do is get on Twitter and back Harbour Town. Find them on Twitter, Harbour Town FC, shouldn't be too bad. Send them some good luck messages, saying you've seen about it on Beat the First Man. Wish them good luck in the FA Cup this week. We're following this. It's a 3 o'clock kick-off. If you live close to Harborough, why not pop along and cheer the Bees? If you aren't, don't worry, there'll be a full update on next week's show as we discover whether the Harbour Town boys have got through to the first qualifying round. So for now, it is leaving that alone because we are heading off on the road to Wembley. Wembley. We beat the first man. This is the road to Wembley. It only just fits, to be honest. It's a bit of a, it gets you a bit out of breath. So good luck, Harbour Town. We'll see how we get on. So Little Shouty Man. He has not been here for a couple of weeks, but he's back. He is back with a vengeance. So what is bugging Little Shouty Man about today's football, modern football? I'll tell you what's bugging me about modern football. This is. Yes, the Community Shield used to be known as the Charity Shield. Now, let's get one thing clear. The Community Shield is not a bad idea. It's a nice little curtain raiser to the football season. The league winners play the FA Cup winners, they play at Wembley, good day out, lots of money raised for good causes from the gate receipts. All of that, marvellous. Absolutely fine. However, let's dispel this bullshit myth that it's a trophy and it's a proper game. It's not. If Leeds win it, doesn't matter. If anyone else wins it, doesn't matter. It's a pre-season friendly. So what has got my eye about this? Why is this suddenly getting my goat? Right, let me tell you. So last weekend, Tottenham Man City, our friend of the show, as you know, we're a big fan of, and it's live, Martin Tyler. Wow, all he kept banging on about was how Man City were on a poor run of form, having lost the Charity Shield, Community Shield the week before, having not scored in the Community Shield the week before. It doesn't matter, it's a pre-season friendly. It does not matter a shit. It's just a kickabout played at Wembley and a big dinner plate up for grabs. To be honest, that might as well be the trophy, a little coaster. It's shite, it's just a friendly. Any club that claims that as a proper trophy, proper tin pot. Honestly, Leicester have won it, Leicester beat Man City have won it. I'm not seeing Leicester fans with profile pictures of the Community Shield. Of course they're not, it's just a friendly, nobody cares. Right, so here's a little stat for you. So since 1992, when football was founded and first began, little joke for you new football fans, only 8 teams who won the Community Shield went on to win the Premier League. So in 29 Community Shields, only 8 teams went on and won the league. So it's a great marker for the season, I'm sure you'll agree. Only, less than a third of teams that won the Community Shield won the league? It's just bollocks. Honestly, get the coaster, the Community Coaster, let's play for that, get rid of that stupid shield that they play for, and just be done with it, and just start calling it let's call it the Cup V League winners pre-season friendly for the Coaster Trophy. There we go, problem solved. So, section of the show dominated by a large inflatable hammer known as Hammer Time. Yes, Hammer Time is here. So defences have definitely got wise to this. Word is getting round that you're going to be on Hammer Time if you lose by 6 goals or more. Because I'm not going to lie, I was scrambling around this week. Defences are definitely tightening up. Leeds fans accepted. There was a little point where I thought I'm going to have to do my own show with my own segment, and my own team is going to step up and throw 6 or 7 goals in. It was looking likely at one stage, I can't lie. But this week I've had to go to Luxembourg to find our winner of Hammer Time. Luxembourg? Who goes to Luxembourg? Where is Luxembourg? It's near Belgium and the Netherlands, but other than that, I don't know anything about Luxembourg. They had a radio station once. I don't even know if that was in Luxembourg, to be honest. What's the capital? Don't know. Is it City of Luxembourg? I don't know. Anyway, we digress. So, the best thing about this week's Hammer Time, it was the away team that dished out the hammer in. So, we digress. So, MR Ham Benfica entertained US Hostert, and things did not start well for the home side. Within 24 minutes, they were 3-0 down and staring the humiliation of Hammer Time in the face. They tightened up a bit, but 2 goals in the space of a minute right on the hour, made it 5-0 with still half an hour to play. Hammer time is looking very, very likely. This is really ringing some bells about Old Trafford last week, I can't lie. Anyway, the fear set in. They clearly sat back and defended for their lives, not wanting to concede that 6th goal and be victims of hammer time. But alas, as with last week, in the last minute, the visitors from US Hostert scored a winner, making it 6-0. So, as always, the chair will be MR Ham Benfica. This bad boy will be US Hostert. So, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hammer time! Well done, US Hostert. Let's see who we dish that shit out to next week. Wonder whether anyone will do it. You never know, we might not get anyone. So, here he is. Ted is back. I'm not going to lie, I've been dreading it this week, but here he is. Let's see what he's got to say. So, Ted, I'm not going to lie, you're looking a little bit smug. Winning. Okay, Ted, why are you winning? Did you see my treble last week? Okay, yeah, let's rewind to last week then. So Ted decided to change his segment of the show last week. He's decided he's dropping Little Knob of the Week. We're going to have a Little Knob of the Month. And what he's going to do, he's going to do Ted's treble. So last week he gave us the benefit of his first treble. So he predicted Liverpool to beat Norwich. Tick. He predicted that the Leeds Man United game would have over 2.5 goals. Massive tick. Come on, you red men. And he also predicted Leicester to beat Wolves on the grounds that Leicester were less of a shit bear than Wolves were. Another tick. Yeah, so believe it or not, his treble actually came in. It paid just under 3-1. So, basic Reidy, you need to follow my ways, follow my bets. Anyway, let's talk about Man United Leeds. My boys, the Red Men. They became your boys last week. You just decided to do it to try and goad me. Why do we need to talk about that shitty game? It's a week old now. Nobody cares. Nobody's interested. I told you there would be over 2.5 goals and most of them would end up in the Leeds net. To be honest, it could have been over 8.5 goals. Yeah, it could have been, Ted. Yeah, very good. Brilliant. Shall we move on? Anything exciting this week other than that? No, just revelling in the glory of my bet and drowning in booze. Brilliant. Well, let's not get too cocky, shall we? So have you got another treble for us this week? Of course I do, Reidy. This section of the show is called Ted's Treble. Why would I not have a treble in a segment called Ted's Treble? Okay, well, you only changed it last week, didn't you? Yes, but it's now called Ted's Treble. I have a treble for you from Ted. Right, okay, well, let's cut to the chase. Who have you got on your first one? Nice, easy one. Man City to beat Norwich with a -1 handicap. Ooh, now Ted, that's a brave call. Man City are struggling for goals at the moment. You know, you're giving Norwich a 1-0 start. City have got to score 2, that means, at least. Have you seen Norwich? They're shit. City will absolutely rip them to pieces. No problem. Stick it on your betting slip. Okay, well, what's your second one then? Okay, well, it's Aston Village. Village? Do you mean Aston Villa? Whatever. Aston Village to beat Newcastle and both teams to score. It's not a bad shout, Ted, to be fair. Both sides very leaky defences. Both sides lost their first games. Yeah, Villa at home. I think I can see that one coming in, Ted. Whose treble is this? Yeah, it's yours. Crack on. Who's your last one then? Well, you'll have to wait until Sunday, but it's Chelsea to win at Arsenal. Again, I'm finding it pretty difficult to disagree with that one. I repeat myself, Reidy. Have you seen Arsenal? They are bobbins. They've not been great. I mean, the game against Brentford, they weren't very clever at all. Weren't very clever? You're being kind. Anyway, so Ted's treble this week does pay around 7-1, so it's not a bad little shout. So the treble's up on screen now, just for you to make sure that you've got it all. So it's Man City to beat Norwich with a 1-goal handicap. Aston Villa to beat Newcastle with both teams to score, and Chelsea to win at Arsenal. So, anything else this week, Ted? Yeah, have you got a wheelbarrow? A wheelbarrow? What? How do I want a wheelbarrow for? To collect all of my winnings from this week's Ted's Treble? I will tell you what, Ted, I will put £1 of my hard-earned cash on it in the vain hope that you can pull off a treble 2 weeks on the bounce. Tight git. Thank you very much for that. So are you going to be back later for How Old the reveal? Is that Fred fella back again? No, Ted, it's Ken Mcnaught. He was on earlier. That's fine then, because if it's Fred, I'm out of here. Okay, well, thank you very much, Ted. Anyway, from the madness of Ted to the historic moment. So this is my 52nd episode of this show. We started zooming in at about episode 13 or 14. I've been really wanting to get a female musical artist on the show, and finally I got one. So we had a solo artist called Jen Dixon who came on the show. She came on and talked about her music, she came on and talked about how she got into music, some of the problems that women face in music, and also about her love of Liverpool FC. And she picked possibly the most flamboyant five-a-side team ever. It's brilliant. I would pay to watch her five-a-side team. Genuinely, this is a really enjoyable chat. So get your coffee, sit down. Here's Zooming In with Jen Dixon. So welcome to another instalment of Zooming In. And in the words of Liam Gallagher at Nebworth, this is history. This is history right here, right now. We've got our first female guest. Jen Dixon, welcome to the show.
Hiya, thank you for having me.
How does it feel to be the history maker?
Well, it's always good to go down the history books, isn't it?
I mean, I'm not sure it's going to make worldwide splash or anything, but you know, you're still the first.
Never know. You never know. If people share it enough, it depends what I say, doesn't it? Really.
Well, this is it. If you say something really controversial, I can fire that out there, and we'll do a bit of clickbait.
Yeah. Okay. I'll think about it.
So there will be people out there, Jen, who don't know anything about you, don't know your music, don't know what you're about. So the sales floor is yours for a little while. What's your music about? What are you about? How did you get into being a musician in the first place?
Okay. Well, I'm Jen Dixon. I'm from a little place called Mass by the Sea in the northeast of England. I started my musical journey when I was about 11 because I started playing drums, but I had really bad stage fright, so drums seemed like the perfect thing because I could hide at the back. And yeah, did that for probably about 12, 13 years, and then sort of just lost the love for music a little bit, I suppose. Did go to uni and do sound engineering and all that sort of stuff. Picked up a guitar and taught it myself, and then a few years ago decided that I wanted to be at the front, but I was terrified. So I went to some open mic nights with a friend, dragged him along, was like, can you play guitar with me, do it as a duo? And that was really good fun, and I just built my confidence. And then at the start of last year I was like, right, I can do this, I'm going to do it on my own. Did one gig and then COVID and I was like, that year didn't go to plan. So yeah, when I was in the lockdown I was furloughed and just decided, you know what, I'm going to just start writing music. So I bought a load of gear, started writing, started recording and producing it all myself. Put my first track out in October as a bit of a, how are people going to receive this? And yeah, it was all right. And then took my time trying to think about what type of sort of artist I wanted to be, and released another one in January. And then that's when I joined Twitter and social media started sort of pushing things for me a bit. And yeah, it's obviously been another sort of 6 months since then. I've released a few more, and that's where I'm at.
So I've been listening to your latest one, Save Me, which you brought out in the middle of June. So that's had a bit of a regular blasting in my car recently. So and my musical expertise is based on comparing you to other artists, because that's what I do. I've got no musical expertise whatsoever. You've got a real lilt of Sarah Cracknell from St Etienne. Now you're very young, so you probably don't even remember who she is. But
no idea.
They were massive in the 90s. Go and listen to St Etienne and Sarah Cracknell, and genuinely, you've got a real lilt of her voice, and she's got a wicked voice. It's a top tune, really, really good. How's it gone down with the general public?
Yeah, it's been received really well. It did really well from like a sort of a streaming point of view. It got played on a few things. So BBC Intro, Juicing played it on my local station. John Kennedy played it on Radio X, which was like, for me, was pretty big. I was dead happy with that. So the feedback generally has been brilliant. But, you know, with any sort of small time artists, it's hard to get it like out there. So people enjoy it, but it's only got so far, I suppose. So it's just working out how to get stuff further and get people hearing it.
Well, I think from someone who started off, like you said, for someone who started off as incredibly nervous to go and step at the front and like being terrified of doing it, to get to where you are now, releasing your own music, working on more music, I think, hats off to you for what you've done already. And, it can only be a positive where you've come from to where you are now.
Yeah, I think if next week I decided I'm not doing it anymore, I think I'd be quite happy with what I've done in the time that I've done. I'm proud of myself for doing that. Like, 11-year-old Jen would never have thought that she'd ever have done anything. She'd never have released any music, never have put herself out there, stood in front of people and played her own music and stuff. That would never have even been a consideration. So, I'd be, if I stopped next week, I'd be proud of that.
Yeah, no, and rightly so. And more history, as we've now got the first dog on the podcast as well.
You have got the first dog on the podcast. I feel like you need to go and
so as a female artist, do you find there's, and obviously I can only relate it to everyday life and other workplaces, etc. Are there more barriers as a female artist, you think, to break down than as a male artist in the same position?
I'd like to say no, but I'm quite lucky that there's a few venues and things around here that are very supportive of just original music in general. And actually being a female can actually sometimes benefit you, because I think people think, oh, we need to get a female artist on the bill. Yeah. And there's not as many around. So you do get, in that way, you do get a look. But then there's also a few bands where promoters are looking for support artists, and they're a band full of lads. And as a support artist, I'd never get picked. Right. It might be that I'm just not good enough, but it'll always be like lads that get picked, and that can be quite frustrating. But it could be more genre style that they're aiming for, and so it could not be anything like that at all. But I've never really seen like a big band, like a bigger up and coming band that's like guy filled band. I've never seen like a female support them, so I don't know whether it's just not the right vibe, or whether it is just that they just feel like it's not for them. I don't know. It's difficult, obviously, for me as a bloke. I don't obviously experience the issues that women come up against. So it's interesting that you say that, because when I've now think back to bands I've been to see, you're right, there's been no female support acts at the bands I've gone to see, who generally have been lads bands, if you like. It's quite interesting you say that now, because that suddenly puts a whole different slant on it. Because now I'm thinking, actually, God, you're right. There just hasn't been any I've been to. Yeah, it's when you think about it, you don't realise. But I've noticed a few times when there's been, things on social media saying we're looking for a band to support us on our tour, and it's never female, it never is. But then I'm used to that. I used to play football when until recently I played football, and as a female footballer, like, I'm used to people thinking that I'm not, like, sort of not second best, but not just not as good as the guys. So it's just one of those things that you sort of, it's sad, but you grow up with it, and I suppose you just accept it. But we shouldn't really.
No, you're right, and you're right. It is sad, and it's quite, because I had a guy on here. He was a goalkeeper coach at a women's football team, and he said you almost have to treat it as two different sports. He said people are so quick to compare men's football to women's football. He said, well, actually, don't. It's
completely different sport.
It's almost treated like two separate sports, and then you can enjoy it and embrace it a bit more.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But so, if you could collaborate with one musical artist, dead or alive, the choice is completely yours. Who would you go for?
I was thinking about this, and it's really, really hard question, isn't it?
Wait till you get the follow-up question.
There's just too much choice. It depends what you're thinking about. It's like, do you want exposure? Do you want fun? Do you want, like, I suppose there's loads of different things. I would love to collaborate with a lads band or something like, you know, a band that and try and break down the walls of that sort of thing. I'd love to collaborate with the like of like Foals or something, and that would be completely unusual because it's not the type of thing that you would have like a female vocal on or that sort of side of things. But then on the flip side of that, you know, collaborating with someone like Prince would have been amazing, just to see how they work as a musician, and just to be in the presence of that sort of person would just be amazing. So I don't think I can pick one.
Right, so okay. So I'm going to pick one for the sake of the next question. So you get the chance to collaborate with Foals on the next tour. They want you to collaborate. You collaborate with them. You perform on their tour. At the end of the tour, though, that's it. You have to stop playing music. You never play again. You never perform. You never release another single. Or you don't collaborate with them and you carry on doing what you're doing.
Good question. Because that's what you're aiming for, isn't it? To get that sort of slot. But actually, you want to go further than that. You want to be bigger than Foals.
Yeah.
I'd say no. I'd love to. First of all, to say that I've turned down Foals would be pretty a good thing up there. But I think I'd do it for the enjoyment, and I'd do it for the fact that it's like an outlet for me more than anything. So if somebody took that away from me for something that's quite short-lived, I don't think it would be worth it for me. Like, I'd rather be small time for the rest of my life, but enjoy what I'm doing than have like a couple of weeks in the limelight.
No, that's fair. To be fair, so I've done this now with about 6 or 7 artists. All of them, bar one band, the lads from Arcade State in Scotland, who all said if they could collaborate. I think it was Kurt Cobain, so obviously it's, you know, totally hypothetical, and they all said straight away, nah, if we collaborate, that's it, we fold the next day. Yeah. But everyone else has said the same as you. We carry on, and we'd rather miss out on the opportunity.
Yeah.
So being a bit of a Twitter stalker that I am, I do notice that you're also working on some new music whilst you're away from the social media limelight. How's things coming along with that?
Slowly, but not in a bad way. It's not that I'm like struggling to write. It's more, I've got some songs that I really like and I really want to get them right and I really want to do them justice. So I'm sort of sitting at I'm sitting at my desk and I'm trying loads of different things. I'm throwing the kitchen sink at it, and then a week later I go, no, I don't like that, and then I delete it, and I'm going back and forth. So it's I've got songs that I like. Yeah. I might write some that I like better, but at the moment I'm sort of like focusing on them, trying to get them to sound right. Whether they're right to release on the EP or not, I don't know. So I'm just trying to. I think I'm just trying to go back to enjoying it a bit more, because it's so easy to get wrapped up in like your social media and things like that. And I was like, do you know what? I'm spending a lot of time doing this, and who am I actually doing this for? Yeah. So I just decided that if I'm just going to come off the social medias, I'm going to and just focus on the music side of things and just enjoy it. And then when I've got something that's worth talking about, I'll come back. And obviously tell people about it. It's a shame because when you come off social media, you do lose like listeners and things like that. But sometimes you got to, I suppose, think about your mental health, and you got to think about what's important to you. And actually, statistics don't actually mean that a lot to me. It's nice that people listen, but I'd rather be happy and be writing music.
Oh, 100%. And I think do you know what? You're so right, because when I started doing this, and it's all I can compare to what you do, I started doing this as a bit of a laugh, just to sound off about football. And then I thought, actually, I'd quite like to, because football and music go together so well, to start getting musicians on and talking about music, blah, blah, blah. And I tried to get really clever. I was trying to follow all the YouTube algorithms, and I was spending hours trying to follow the algorithm. And in the end, I thought, actually, do you know what? I just do this for fun because I enjoy it. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm just going to record what I want to record, put out what I want to put. If somebody watches it, great. If they don't, I've had some fun, and it's been a mental release for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I can totally see where you're coming from. 100%. So onto your football then. So how does a girl from the northeast end up supporting Liverpool?
It's a good question, that, isn't it? So when I was young, I went to all the borough games.
Yeah.
Being from the Middlesbrough area, and it was just like none of my family were particularly football fans. I suddenly, for some reason, became a lover of football, and my family then had to learn to love football. And the natural thing was to support your local team, which is obviously, you know, what you do. But then as I sort of grew up and started watching football and started getting to know the players and all that sort of stuff, for some reason, I just fell in love with Liverpool I remember my mum always saying to me, Liverpool fans are always singing. And I was like, you're right, they never shut up. And whether that's the musical side of me coming out when I'm younger, and I just loved the atmosphere and the feel around the club at the time, and all the players that they had just seemed to be like really like quite modest players, because there seemed to be, you know, teams like Chelsea, Arsenal, they all just seemed really like obnoxious, and just like Liverpool were a big team, but they were run like a small team. It was more of like a community team. That's how it came across to me as a youngster.
Yeah.
So that's sort of why I started following them, and that was the years of, you know, Gerrard, Carragher, Dudek, Reese, all those sort of players, and that was a really good team.
Yeah.
That just like didn't have any horrible characters and things in. So I just, as a youngster, I just thought, oh, these guys are great, and just from then on, I was a Liverpool fan.
I mean, I can't believe you'd say a Chelsea team with Lampard and Terry seemed quite obnoxious. Surely not.
Surely not. Nothing like that at all.
So expectations for this season then. Obviously last season, although you squeezed into fourth place right at the very death, it was a disappointing season in reality, following on from winning the title the year before. But, you know, injuries played a huge factor. So what are the sort of Liverpool, or your Liverpool expectations for this season?
I think the same expectations that everyone has is that they want to get into the top so they can get into Europe, essentially, is always nice. I always like top six. I don't expect to win every year. Top six is always, for me, if you're in the top six, you're doing fine. And then obviously if you can be in Europe and you can challenge in Europe and you're on a bigger platform, and, you know, the fans get to travel and things like that, that for me is that's acceptable. I'd be, you know, quite happy with that. I'm not a massive football follower anymore. I couldn't even tell you who plays for all the teams anymore and things like that. But if I ever want somebody to win something, it's always going to be Liverpool, because they'll always be my team. But yeah, if they come top six, I'd be happy with that.
As a Leeds fan, I know what you mean about keeping your expectations level low. Mine are this year, same as every other year, just to avoid relegation. If we do that, I'm more than happy.
That's basically what it's like for the borough.
So obviously fans are now back in the ground. I think we saw it for the first time last weekend as full houses of crowds, and, you know, what a difference it made to watching football from the outside. So is that something you're looking forward to doing, getting back in a ground to watch a game, or is it something at the moment that you're steering away from? How do you see it? Because there's a real mix of people, I'm finding.
Do you know what? I haven't been to a match in quite a long time, and not because I don't want to, but I suppose with the fact that my team, the team that I support, is Liverpool. Yeah, it's a long way to go. It's about a 3-hour drive to get there and get the tickets, and then obviously if you're not in, getting the tickets is tricky and stuff. And I suppose I just don't love it enough anymore to go, whereas I did used to go to matches. Obviously when I was a kid, I went to the borough matches all the time because they were local. Liverpool, I went to a handful of matches and things over the years, but I suppose it was just never really accessible, in a sense that when I was a big fan, I didn't drive or anything like that. Finding somebody to go with you when they don't support Liverpool and stuff is quite tricky to do.
Challenging.
Yeah, it's not really easy to sort. Yeah, I don't go to matches as much as I'd like, I suppose. But to be honest, these days, if I was going to spend the money, I'd rather spend it on a gig.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough. That's...
No, I'm saying this to the guy that does the football podcast, and I won't be invited back again. Is that controversial enough?
Yeah, that's good. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like football. No, but I would prefer to spend the money on a gig than a match, to be honest.
Well, I'm going Saturday. It's the first time back in Ellen Road for 2 years. First time since we've been back in the Premier League, and I can't tell. I am genuine like a kid at Christmas. So imagine that gig that you've got tickets for that you're so desperate to go to. That is me right now, looking forward to Saturday.
Not long to go.
I know. 4 more sleeps.
Yeah. Let's just hope they get a win then. It's worth it.
I don't. After getting thrashed by Man United on Saturday, it can't be any worse than that, surely. So moving on to your love of Liverpool, who would be your, not necessarily the best you've ever seen, who would you say be your favourite ever Liverpool player of all time? Doesn't have to be the best. It could be just someone you think, actually, yeah, they're the one. I've always sort of honed in on them. They've always been my favourite player.
Is Gerrard too obvious?
No,
I feel like Gerrard's too obvious.
Yeah, not at all. You don't have to be controversial with every answer.
Well, that's true. Don't I? I think growing up and the like, yeah, I think Gerrard was probably Virgil van Dijk was very, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with my guns. I'm going to go Gerrard because it's Gerrard, isn't it? You can't say no to that.
No, he's. I mean, as any Liverpool fan, I think he has to go down as an absolute legend of the club. And I don't think when I do the five-a-side bits, every Liverpool fan that's ever been on has had him in the team. I don't think one person has not put him in. So
yeah,
you might be the one that changes that.
I think I'm going to be.
Now, there you go. Talk about controversy right there. So for a bit of fun, you beat Man United twice, but they go on and win the league. Or you lose to them twice, but neither of you win anything.
Beat them twice.
But they win the league.
Yeah, why not? Someone's got to win it. But at least we can say, well, yeah, but you won the league, but you didn't beat us, did you? So.
Right, so the five-a-side team. This is the bit that the musicians, a lot of them tend to love because they turn into football managers for 10 minutes and pick their favourite five-a-side team. So simple rules. You have to have seen them play live. 1 goalie, 1 defender, 2 midfielders and 1 striker. So let's start with your goalkeeper, Jen. Who have you gone for?
Dudek.
Jersey Dudek. The thing about Jersey Dudek, of all the bizarre things I'm going to remember about Jersey Dudek, this is the one thing I remember about Jersey Dudek. He always rolled his sleeves up. And I always used to wonder, why don't he just wear a short sleeve top?
Yeah.
I realise it's a really crap thing to remember about Jersey Dudek, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's for me, like when I played football, if you only got 1 kit and you all got the same kit, so if you got a long sleeve top, you have to roll it up.
Maybe that was it.
Got a choice.
Maybe he had no options.
But maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe they were just too poor and he didn't get a choice. Yeah, he had to have long sleeve. Maybe goalkeeper tops only came in long sleeve at that time.
It must be that. Let's put it down as that.
Let's do that.
So your defender.
I already mentioned him, Virgil van Dijk.
And again, you won't be surprised to hear that every other Liverpool fan has put. In fact, every other Liverpool fan and every Celtic fan have all put Virgil van Dijk in their team.
He's probably one of the best defenders that has ever played, to be fair. So how can you not pick him? He's
a pretty impressive man. He's just he's a class.
All the Chelsea fans picked like Terry or something, didn't they? So it's you're gonna stick to your guns.
I've not had any Chelsea fans on here. I don't allow them on. No Chelsea fans have stepped up to the plate yet and come on. So I need a Chelsea supporting musician to come on the show and stick up for Chelsea. So let's see if anyone can step up. Right. So the first of your midfielders,
David Beckham.
Oh,
come on.
the master of the cross, the free kick. I mean,
I don't know how well that would do in a five-a-side sort of situation, but he's a pretty beautiful human being, isn't he? So I'd be quite happy with him in my team. So.
He's and the thing with David Beckham is, and he again is like players like Gerrard. It doesn't matter who you support, you have to just accept he's a class act. And as much as it might pain you if he plays for your biggest rivals or the team you despise the most, you have to sometimes just hold your hands up and say he's a class act, and he plays for the team that I really don't like, but he's still a class act.
Oh yeah, never liked Man U, but love Beckham. So.
Yeah, no. I mean, Saturday I sat and watched Pogba and Fernandes tear us to pieces, and you just have to hold your hands up and go, they were quite good.
That's what I'm going to say about my next player. Because,
right, okie dokie. Let's go for your next midfielder.
Right. This might be cheating a little bit because I think he's actually a striker now. But when I saw him, he was playing left wing.
Yeah.
And that's Neymar. Ooh. So he was playing left wing for Brazil. And he came to play, he played England at the Riverside in Borough, which is, Brazil don't often come. So we went. And I think he was just quite young. And I remember thinking, I hate him because he just was so obnoxious. He was like, he obviously thought he was amazing. Yeah. Turns out he did become one of the best footballers in the world. So fair enough. But I remember thinking, I hate him, but he was wicked. He was running up and down the left wing, and I just thought, I hate you, because he was ripping us apart. He was so cocky, and I was like, oh. But yeah, he's imagine him at five-a-side. Yeah. He wouldn't have a chance, would you?
He's not. He doesn't come across as a modest chap, does he? Bless him.
No. that was why I didn't like him. But you've got to admit he's a good player.
He is a good player, but yeah, I have to agree.
But he was definitely the kid when you were younger that didn't pass the ball.
Oh, 100%. And I guarantee there'll be players in the team that he won't pass to because he doesn't like them. Absolutely nailed on. You just couldn't see it coming.
Yeah.
Right. So that is an awful lot of assists coming from them two. So who's the lucky man up front who's sticking the ball in the net, or have you put yourself in up front?
I should have, shouldn't I? No, Juninho.
Little Juninho.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I like him because I'm a very small man. He was also a very small man.
He was tiny, but he was wicked.
He was absolutely class. Absolutely class. And without being, and this isn't meant to sound disrespectful for the whole region of Middlesbrough, so anyone in Middlesbrough, I apologise now. It was A, very unusual that he turned up at Middlesbrough. B, the standard narrative is, hang on, he's a little Brazilian lad and he's going to play in Middlesbrough, which is not the warmest of climates in the world. But he absolutely ripped it up at Middlesbrough, didn't he?
Yeah, he was the best. I think it was the best team that he played for.
Yeah.
Not the best team, but I think for his career, that's the best time that he had.
Yeah. No, he was just so his ball control, his quick feet, he was just incredible. What a player.
He'd be classed at five-a-side.
He'd be brilliant at five-a-side. Him and Neymar, the other team ain't getting the ball off him.
There you go.
No chance. I think your five-a-side, I've got to say, that is one of the most attacking five-a-side teams we've had so far. That is going to score an awful lot of goals.
Better do.
Jen, I've loved this. It's been brilliant. You're one of the most down-to-earth people I think I've had on. And I don't, not disrespect if anyone's been on. Everyone's been fab. But you're so down-to-earth. You're just so genuine. And I really hope that musically, everything you're trying to do works for you and it all comes off, because you just deserve it. You just seem like a really genuinely nice person, which is all you can ask for in people.
Thank you.
After we finish this chat, there will hopefully, if I can pull something together, be a clip of Jen's latest song. Please go and download it. It is called, frantically goes to the back of the page, Save Me. It only came out in June, so you'll be able to find it quite easily on Spotify. You got plenty of other tunes on there, Jen, as well?
Yeah, there's 4 singles on there. And obviously keep your eyes peeled for any other stuff.
Keep your eyes peeled on Twitter, because when she arrives back on Twitter, then you'll know there's some stuff about to arrive.
You'll know.
Jen, you've been fab. Thank you so much. Much appreciate your time for coming on the show. As I said, you are a history maker. Your dog is a history maker. So if nothing else, you can go away with that title.
Yeah, I mean, you've put her to sleep as well.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
So for now, it's back to the show.
Standing on a knife edge, waiting to fall. Trying not to look down, it's a long way to go. I don't want to force it, but I'm up here for you. This ledge is getting higher, what do I do? Is this love or is it all in my head?
There we go then. She was bloody brilliant. I loved her chat. We could have chatted for another half hour or so about football and music. She was a genuinely really, really nice person. So go and download her tune. It's called Save Me. It will brighten your day, trust me, and you'll be part of this historic moment because you heard her here first. You've gone and downloaded her song. You are part of history. There we go. Now, I want more female artists. Any more female artists out there who musicians, love football, want to come on the show? Find me on Twitter, hit me on Twitter, Beat the First Man, and you'll be more than welcome to come on here. I can hear a noise, and it's not Jen's song. What is it? Could it be? The name game. Of course it is. It's the name game. So we continue our trawl of the world for the brilliantly named footballers, and this week we head to the Czech Republic. A man who started his career with a number of clubs in his homeland, made about 160 appearances across 6 different clubs, including his hometown team, Jablonec, I don't know, something like that. He earned himself a switch to the Bundesliga. We've dropped the not calling it the Bundesliga anymore. They've paid their penance for having that video taken down last year. When he signed for Hamburg in 2000 before moving on to Borussia Mönchengladbach. He actually had trials at Leeds United and Manchester City, but both the trials fell through and he had no success there, so he finished in Germany and he headed back to the Czech Republic. He also served his country, making a further he made 19 appearances for the Czech Republic between 1997 and 2003. So, a sterling career from our man. What we need though is his ultimate highlight. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Milan Fuck All. No, that's actually a picture of fuck all. No, can we please have Milan Fuck All? There we go. Another brilliantly named footballer. Be sure to check in for another one next week. Not sure it'd be as good as Milan Fuck All. That is truly quite beautiful. Anyway, the Lineal European Cup, so European Cup action of the correct variety carried on last week, and we saw both teams successfully defend their trophies again. In the Lineal European Cup, it was easy does it for Borussia Dortmund as they smashed Eintracht Frankfurt 5-2, no problem at all. They did play Bayern Munich in midweek, but they played in the German equivalent of the Community Shield. So we know what that means. Yes, it's just a pre-season friendly, so it doesn't count. So Dortmund retain the trophy. They're back in action on Saturday when they make the trip to Freiburg. So let's see whether Dortmund can defend the trophy. In the Lineal UEFA Cup, having narrowly avoided a shock in the Cup, Susanna Hoffenheim bounced back at the weekend when they thumped Augsburg 4-0 to defend the trophy. A very impressive performance and result. So for them now, it's a home match as they look to break up the Union Berlin to make sure the cup remains in the Bengals' front room. Be sure to check in next week to see whether Dortmund and Susanna Hoffenheim retain their respective trophies. But he's back again, so which can only mean one thing. It is time for How Old the Reveal. It's not Fred, is it? You promise me it's not Fred. Ted, that was last week. If you remember Fred Hermans, here he is now. Reidy, no, do not put Fred on the screen. I'm not going to do it, Ted. I was just joking with you. I'm not going to put him up there. Thank Christ for that. I've been having sleep terrors, those bulging eyes, the death stare behind them. Okay, well, the good news is, Ted, it's not him. So all you had to do was guess this week's, which was Ken Mcnaught. Well, he looks a damn sight younger than Fred, that's for sure. To be honest, really, he looks quite youthful to some of the others that you've put up here. I'm going to go 22. He's nothing like the Crags you've had on here before. Crags? It's a bit harsh. Anyway, let's see if you're right then. So when this photo of Ken Mcnaught was taken, he was 25 years old. God's sake, Reidy, does this game get any less stupid? Never, Ted. And the good news is we haven't even scratched the surface with these footballers yet. We've got loads of them. Brilliant news. I can't wait, said nobody ever. Thank you for your kind words, Ted. Do have a good week and see you next weekend. You might, if I can be asked. Oh dear, he's taken getting it wrong well again, I see. But there we go. Oh, I nearly forgot, didn't I? So, the only other Scotsman to have played in a European Cup final and never played for Scotland was John McGovern of Nottingham Forest. There was the other one. So, another show comes to an end, and I know you want more, but you're just going to have to wait till next weekend. I'm really sorry. If you enjoyed the show and you haven't done so already, please don't forget to click the subscribe down below. Once you've done that, make sure you move across the page a little bit and click the little notifications bell so you never miss another episode. And even more importantly than that, do not forget to click the little likes button. But for now though, as always, it's ding ding, next stop, Saturday the 28th of August for what will be episode 53. Enjoy your day, people. I am on my way to a football stadium as you watch this, if you're watching it on Saturday. So for now, stay safe, everybody.